And then you're looking at land banks, where you have something where you can just store wealth and let it accumulate and grow. And you've really hit all three of those. Which one did you start in? And then what created the movement into the other moments? More like we're just going. So with the real estate that you're seeing down in Florida, what changes have you seen over the past couple of years versus what you've seen in the past?
In the last couple of years, I see something really, really unbelievable. I see a lot of people coming from different parts, from New York, California, and I see something unique because before Miami is a place where you possible work and find the property of your dream. Now you need to be coming with really big money to have possibility to buy a property. This is a big change over here in the last couple of years, really big change.
There's the political landscape has really created some divides in the country, and it attracts certains and it detracts others, and there's been a lot of movement that's happened from state to state, and Miami's certainly one that's in attraction mode right now. And I know I spent a lot of time down there with the Grant Cardone group down there at 10X, and it just seems like it's just always getting bigger, always just growing. Like there's used to be you go to New York to find bigger and bigger things, and it seems like Miami is really the hub of growth right now in the United States.
Yeah, and something I want to share with you is this. What I see the big difference to respect before couple of years. Now, to a lot of company in the financing space, to in the crypto, they coming over here, they open the office. It's a lot of conventional over here, a lot of event. It's something really different. And the ambience when you go around in the event or in theater too, is becoming really something like more New York, more European. Before is a little bit, a beach city where you come, you go to the beach, enjoy like the sun. It's not anymore like only this.
Yeah, most of the times when I'm going down there, actually, to be honest, is for conferences. It's not to go to the beach. I think the amount of times that I've been to the beach, I could probably count on my hand.
Mhm.
The amount of times I've been down in Miami, I probably couldn't count now. And so, yeah, it's definitely become a place of industry. It's a place of commerce. It's a place of investment, and I think that's really changing the landscape of Miami. That you put that to couple together with a lot of the challenges that you guys have gone through makes a very interesting investment market for anybody who's looking to get into investing in that area. I mean, you've got changes in the way that the building structure rules are around for having reserve funds. You have the changes around insurance and a lot of the policy changes that have happened. What does this mean for an investor getting into this space?
I think so. In this moment, Miami is not arrive at the top of the possibility. What this means, uh, if you see the big city like New York, like Los Angeles, and you compare the number of the median price in this area respect to Miami, remaining low, and this is the gap where the possibility, the properties possible go. Now, normally think about something, in the past, Miami, like, is one of the city where something happening, the market crash completely. I don't see, this kind, the market will go in this kind of direction, but what I think so we will have, in the next couple of years, a slow down, what this means, will go no crazy like in the previous year. And after Miami will go up near this big city in the medium price like New York and Los Angeles.
And what is, there is all of these indicators that is the case. What is the canary in the coal mine that would tell us that, maybe watch out, or what is the light at that end of that tunnel that draws us towards, how can we see those indicators that there's a heavy shift happening?
Yeah, I think so. Like what I see, for example, personally, I study the core logic and I see, the correlation about the previous bubble. I study what's happening in all the different kind of bubble and what really happening in particular in Miami. The big moment where the property go really down is 2008. Now is a big difference from that time to now. The reason is only based in two. One, first of all, the people coming over here before, respect at 2008, this kind of people is coming over here. They are people, they stay over here, they open a company, they don't buy only a property over here. Quindi the economy is different. And the second one, what I see normally at that time is a lot of money creation. Now is solid, and a lot of transaction I do is people, they buy cash or they have the money to buy the property, the down payment,
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of money being poured in that area. You can see as you spend time at it, you can see that people aren't coming in on the entry level. They're coming in as fairly affluent, moving to the area. And I think, based on some of the requirements with some of the financing around that area too, there's almost a necessity that plays into some of the investments that are required in that area based on either insurance policies or, again, around the idea of those reserve fund elements around multifamily.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's interesting, and I want to dive deeper into some of those strategies that you do in order to really just do a sniff test on an investment, because your investments that you're looking at are actually pretty approachable. You're looking at the ones that are under 20 units, and so they're not where you're going to be competing against the big boys. And so it gives you a little bit more mobility to be able to get into the market, which I think is really cool. But one of the things that drew me to have you on the podcast was not only talking about real estate, because believe me, I could talk to real estate for hours, but really is just the idea of talking about your book. And it speaks to me on so many different levels. And so I want to talk a little bit about your book and kind of dive into some of the key concepts that you have within the book. They definitely resonate with me, and I want to share those with the audience. So let's do a little bit of an overlay. Your book, which is the Healthy, Rich, and Happy book, is something you can get that on Amazon, and it's a great book. And I think the first concept you introduce is the MPBE method. And talk to me a little bit about what this method means to you.
Yeah, Steve, for me, it means something really important. When you receive something in your life to the divine, whatever you want to call, I have the obligation now to share with more people as possible. And this method is created and I assemble it in 4 pillars: for meditation and morning, P, pray, B, biohacking, and E, exercise. This 4 pillar, I think so, is something super good and necessary in our life to create our mindset and our spiritual energy inside to go after what we want outside. Something happened in our life when the moment is correct. And, when I started to understand the meditation, for me, is something completely changed my life, because I arrived at one point of my life where I have really deeply pain point mentally, physically, when I'm moving over here in Florida in 2011, because, for me it's really difficult. And I have my friend, he shared with me this possibility of meditation. From over there, I started to learn, understand everything, and I feel really changed completely my life, And this method is something for me important to share with more people as possible, because each pillar is something create energy in our life,
So when you look at meditation, I think there's many different ways to achieve an outcome of meditation. I mean, my personal way is I try to stack in the things that I do. And my whole thing is I like to be busy. I'm not good at sitting still, but I find meditation to me is when you can clear your mind. And for me, I do a blend, a hybrid, because my meditation comes through when I work out. And so I get this clarity of mind when I work out. I'm not thinking about other things. I'm not even thinking about what I'm doing at that point. I'm more just in the moment. I'm present.
Yeah.
And I think that's my interpretation of meditation. What's your interpretation of meditation? How do you feel that it can really, number one, be achieved, and number two, create impact?
Beautiful. What I want to share is something is this one. For me, I have 2 phases really of meditation. Okay. The first one is the actual physical meditation, where every morning at 4:30 and around 2:30 in the afternoon, I take 20 minutes, close my eyes, I do meditation transcendental, where I repeat this mantra in my mind, where it's calm my mind. I go, in my field, where what's happening before I starting my meditation, I ask to the divine, wherever I you wanna call, what I want in my life for the day. It means, for example, if I need to do some kind of offer, to I need to have some kind of negotiation with somebody, or I need to have a interview, a speak in the podcast like today, I put in my mind what I need to do during the day. And in my meditation, I arrive idea, I arrive something where is useful for the conversation, something where give me energy. And this is so important. This is one step of meditation. The second one, and I am completely connect with you, is when I go to the gym, the same, and I have my mind feel my body, my muscle, everything. And over there too, I take during this kind of moment, feel the presence. At the same time, this feeling of the presence bring me idea, and I have with me every time a book, everything, because in
Mm.
this kind of moment is where I take my energy and my idea, you know?
Mm. Yeah, that's where I think if I think about my drive to the gym, my drive home from the gym, yeah, I'm driving, and I get that's probably most people would say that's not the time to meditate. But again, I try to stack my day, and I don't know whether it's right or wrong. It's just what I do. And so on the way back is usually when I have the really good ideas. On the way to the gym, I'll typically listen to a podcast, something that I want, just to kind of get my brain working on something. But the moment I get to the gym, it's all just being present. And I think that the exercise is what interprets that thought process and that being connected to the moment to then when I'm driving home, that's when I start to connect with different things that I'm really thinking about.
And something I want to share with you. In the last year, I used one personal trainer from Italy. Dario is the name. And he told me something I never think about. You know, the big bodybuilder like Schwarzenegger or whatever, they view their self during the gym before they do gym or whatever kind of exercise you do. You know, now what's happening, I really apply this method to, I see myself, I visualize like what I do in the gym, and how I will be comfortable to do gym and everything. It's something really important, because we don't think about my everything is create from this for the brain. If we started to think about something and we are really focalized, and we started to really, I think so, go deeply and find and be clear what we want in this hour, what we want in the second hour, or whatever, everything will coming in our life. The problem, we have different kind of the interaction of today, like phone interaction today, phone or wherever, a call, and we are completely distracted. But if we are stuck and we go with our plan, we will for sure have a better understanding of our life, a better understanding how achieve the goal we want.
Absolutely. And it all starts within the mind. And because what you think is what you say is what you do becomes your legacy. That was a statement from a fellow by the name of Brandon Dawson, but it really was actually pulled out of historically from Mahatma Gandhi. And he was the one who really kind of made that statement, at least, and probably somebody made it before him, but that's the sort of the lineage that I have on that mind map. And I think more people need to realize that the idea that mindset is some woo woo kind of a thing, and realize that that's just not the case. And the more that you can connect with that up there, you're going to start to see things manifest. And because you're actually connecting with here, because it's going to define everything that you see. I mean, you look at things like, where somebody has this, predeterminism, I'm going to have a bad day. Well, guess what? They have a bad day. Or they get this echo chamber mindset of, I'm going to see these things. Guess what you see all day long? I see red cars. Everywhere I go, I see a red car, because you get this echo chamber that happens in your brain. It all starts up here first.
And the thing is like, really, I think so. What's happening if you don't plan your day the day before? you don't know where you're going in reality, and happening to everybody. What it means, I take, for example, the day before I go sleep really early until Friday, because I need to have time to write what I need to do the day after, because what's happening, we completely forgot about our goal. And to in life, like in business, if we don't clarify the day before and the week before and the month before what we want, we will be really, we will forgot where we want to go. This is reality.
Anytime you start a journey to a place that you've never been and you don't bring yourself a map, you're going to find it a very difficult process to get to that final spot where you want to be. If you've got your Google Maps up and it's sitting there on your desk or on your car on the dash, and you can just follow the map to where you go, it makes it super simple. So the idea that you're setting yourselves with a roadmap for success and you're reviewing it, ideally, as you said the night before, that makes it so super successful the next day. One of the key things that I do, especially when I'm doing my gym workout, because I'm up at the gym at 4:45 in the morning as well, so I start fairly early, and it made my morning so much less stressful. Is first of all, I'd be thinking about what are we going to go through at the gym the night before. Then the second thing I would do is I'd lay out my bag. I'd have everything all ready, my water bottle, my keys, my wallet, everything's laid out. So when I get up, I just have to brush my teeth and make my bed and then go. And it's so super simple. And I'm able to actually close my sleep cycle by making my bed because I had everything ready. If I didn't have everything ready, I get up, the bed's a mess. I try to find everything. I probably forget something. And then I get to the gym. I'm a little bit frustrated because I'm probably, just right on the buzzer just when the class starts. And I get in there and I'm flattered, like frazzled, whereas if I have everything ready, everything set up, bed's made, I'm out. That means when I come back home, the bed's made, everything's ready to go back into the spots I need to put it into, and everything has a system.
Yeah, and I think so. The big, really big mistake human being we make is this one. If we don't organize, you know, and we planify everything, the day before or, in time, we never achieve nothing. I want to share with you something really happening in the last couple of months. I have a lot of people, friends, they call me, maybe they are in other area, in other kind of business. They see what they do and, they ask me for advice. And because how I share with you, my heart is open to share with other human beings what I learn with a lot of energy, but I give more time for free. What's happening, and I want to share with you this one. I see in a lot of too successful people where they want to understand how it's working, something where for us we are in the real estate for many years probably is easy. They try to complicate the step of the process. It means, for example, one example I want to share with you. For example, when you do small thing like a flipping, you have a clear process when you buy a property. You, for example, first of all, if you want to buy without company, you will be apply with your mortgage, blah blah blah, step by step. When you try to explain to some kind human being, they want to jump from point zero to point five. And this is something really based in mindset and in the process to organize the journey to a step by step process. And I see in a lot of human being, I don't know what you think about this kind of process, this kind of the situation.
Yeah, that's a I think it's a little bit deeper, and it's something that it's a hard one to sort of address. I don't know. I really don't know. Like to me, I think I personally, I think there's different ways to interpret the world.
Mhm.
And it's funny, I always think back to, there's this guy Cicero, and he runs a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym just down the street from us. Wonderful individual. And then there's our gym. And I do coaching in our gym. And we were having a conversation about how we coach. And we coach very different in the way that we interpret the world. I'm very much into taxonomy. I want to understand something. I want to understand language. I want to understand, I want to label things. I mean, that is an orange, that is an apple, that is a square, that is a circle.
Yeah.
We can understand these things. Now, once I create those things with names, I can relate them. And when I relate them, I can create objects. And when I create objects, I can create systems and models.
Mhm.
And that's the way that I understand the world. And that's the way that I understand and teach Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, is through systems and models. He's very different. The way he's Portuguese, he's from Brazil. He speaks Portuguese, and he interprets the world in very much a flow. So
Mhm.
when he's teaching things, he teaches things without names. He teaches things without, connections, without systems, without models. He teaches things in flow. And I'm always curious that if, because of the way that he was brought up in a very, I would say, Latin environment, which I think is very much I would almost call it like a love language environment. It's very emotional,
Mhm.
and in the way that, speaks, and the way that people communicate. And I'm just curious that, does that change the way somebody interprets the world?
Mhm.
And that's why I'm always wondering, because I don't know if the way that I interpret the world is the right way. It's just the way that I do.
But I think so something, Steve. Finally, the result you have in what you do give you idea how your interpretation of the word slash jujitsu have better result or no. I think so.
Well, he's a damn good coach.
I know it's probably like both way is working in different human beings. It means I think so. Me too. I am agree with you. But finally, how we interpret the world and how we try to organize ourselves, our business. Finally, like how the book is called, healthy, rich, and happy. These three words are what we want. We want to be healthy, rich, and happy. And finally, if you feel these three words inside you, you achieve your result. This means like the same how you see the jiu-jitsu, how you try to teach, and this other person how try to teach. Finally, if the result of the person coaching with you with him have the possibility to have becoming a better person to jiu-jitsu will be the result finally. Now, how they arrive, probably the way is different, but
Yeah,
the
very
final
different.
point is the
Yeah, yeah, and I think, my fundamental belief is that a combination of both provides the best outcome.
mm,
Because I think, to me, once you create those building blocks of objects and relate them and create systems and models, and then you apply an artistic flair, a emotional relationship, and I'm not talking anger or anything like that, but just a true artistic connection
mhm,
to whatever that you're implementing. I think that's where you get to the highest level. I mean, when you look at somebody like Kobe Bryant playing basketball, he's not doing a 1, 2, 3, 4 move. He's artistically expressing his understanding of the 1, 2, 3 move. And that's why he's able to be so successful. So I think a combination, I think, is the one that really truly creates the success. Hopefully I can hit that level of the artistic expression. And I think there's certain days that I feel it. And then there's those other days that I don't. And that's where, again, it comes to that mindset thing of being in that present in that moment of doing that.
and may I ask you how you put yourself in the flow? Means which is the way in business and in jiu-jitsu to try to achieve the flow, the moment of where you are in the flow,
You know, I'm a weird one that way. I do it through absolute joy. And when I go to a competition, I know I'm going to do really well when I'm in the moment of joy. And even when when I was, and there was times where there's altercations that have happened outside of the gym when I was younger. And the way that I'd be able to really defend myself was through joy. Like, I would just be happy in the moment. I'd be like, laughing, giggling, whatever, and just enjoy having it. And in business, when large problems come in, if I'm joyful in the way that I accept those problems and
Mhm.
say, great, this is something, man, if I could get out of this, this is going to be awesome. I got to
Mm.
figure out a way to solve this. And so in that moment of joy, I think I'm able to really get into an artistic interpretation of systems and models to be successful. And where I think that I don't get successful at it is if I get frustrated, if I get upset, if I get angry, and I let those other emotions come to the surface. I think that's where I get lost.
Quindi be present with with the correct emotion give you the flow in. It's same to a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's easy, I think, a lot of times to express that moment of joy when things are easy. It's hard to express that moment of joy when things are hard. And I think the more that people can look to the moment of joy when things are difficult, I think they can bring down stress. And I firmly believe this, that most people, when they're in a high degree of stress, they're operating at their lowest level of training. Not their highest, they're operating at their lowest. So the easiest way to get better performance is not do more training. It's figure out how you can lower your stress in that moment of implementation.
I am 100% agree with you. And I think so, one, the way where I see different result to in my experience of investor and in my previous business, because I coming from jewelry in Italy, where I have a different shop. It's really this, try to use this technique I assembled now to bring me the stress part, where every investor, every entrepreneur go to the day, because it's normally you have every time you need to make an important decision. And this kind the technique bring me really in the way where I am clear, where I am peaceful in the art to try how you explain the joy, to try to decide in the best way.
Yeah, and that I think is, it produces to me peaceful or joy or present or focused. Those are the things that, if they're on that sort of positive side of the spectrum, especially when it's extremely difficult, I think it becomes, such a better chance of the outcome that you're looking for. Now, when we look at your, we talk a lot about mindset, and obviously this is the money mindset and mentoring podcast, and mindset being the middle, it really is the center of everything, and that's why I named the podcast in that way. I want to flesh out some of the other acronyms that we have within the framework that you describe in your book. So let's move on to the next few and really dive into those.
Yeah, like the other one, the other pillar really important for me is pray. And what this means, pray is something really important. And I feel now the correct word I share is activation pray. It's something completely different. It means when you are connect with whatever you believe, the divine, God, Buddha, whatever you feel could be connect. But the important part, and I use this now way to pray in the different way, is to really connect and ask, and before the ask, I give every time. What does it mean is this one, for example, when I pray, I starting to give to the divine, to God, and I ask first of all to people around me, my family, my friend, people giving me good energy like you in this moment, to have peaceful in their heart, to be in joy, to be in the good place where they possible be. And after I ask to the God or to the divine, really clear visualize, where and what I want to do during my day. And after, ask and see my next step, where I want to, really go in my life, spiritually, emotionally, and in the business. This one is completely different, because I don't know if you are agree with me, wherever religion you are in general. For example, my grandmother, she teach me to pray, like this. This is no work, it means it's no work, because you are really not connect with something important. Now I feel connect with the divine, and I give my blessing, my pray to other people, and after I ask something clear and I visualize this part.
Most people can find the greatest level of joy through the success of others. And if you can really start to manifest yourself and your success by first putting other people first and saying that their outcomes have importance to me, and I want to make sure that they get whatever they're looking for. And if we can get that done, that's fantastic. And then let's focus on my outcome. But the one thing that I think you really hit as well that was extremely important was the retaining of the agency. Because what you said is what am I going to do? You didn't say I'm going to sit here on the couch and wait for the divine to solve all my problems. You said, no, 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 I'm going to retain the agency in the process. I'm going to retain the ownership of the process. And I'm the one who's going to implement to go to that outcome. I needed the focus. I needed the blessing to move forward. And now I'm ready to take action.
And this is, I think so, the way really where the connection with the divine is working, because you put your mind with another force, energy, and mind, where you clarify everything for your day, and you clarify, with specific already set up goal, where is your next step in each category of your life. I believe in this.
Yeah, totally. I'm 100% agreement with that. 100% agreement with that. With some of the next categories, let's move into. We've got two more that I really want to cover, and I want to make sure that we can give ourselves some space to really develop on. Let's move into the next element and flesh that key category out.
Yeah, like the other two categories, like biohacking. Biohacking is something where, implement my quality of life. What this means, I use this method, meditation, pray, and after I use a different kind of device, where I not necessarily need to use this device, but help me in the way where I reprogram my mind. In particular, I have one where I don't have any kind of interest, but I share with people because I love. It's called Brain Tap, where I use this device on my head, and I have different kind the information received through my ear and the light in my eyes, and this one give me a boost after meditation. When I do meditation 20 minutes, and after 10-12 minutes of this device, and give me more energy. But in reality, biohacking bring me more energy too in another way. It means I do, for example, ice bath
Mm-hmm.
in the morning when I wake up, really important. And I use red light to have more energy. And this step by step process, everything is explained in the book, give me this clarity, power inside, energy to, when people they wake up at 6:37, I'm ready. That's it. I'm ready.
Absolutely, and I think biohacking is probably one of, if it's not AI, and if it's not going to Mars, or if it's not politics, biohacking is probably one of the number one most searched areas on the internet. And I look at people such as Jeff Bezos, Zuckerberg, Joe Rogan, even somebody like Dana White. Dana White's done a wonderful job of really biohacking to get himself into alignment with his physicality. And you can start to see a really strong movement towards health. I mean, you're looking at Kennedy coming in, with the new movement around really pushing around health. And again, not to get into a political discussion, but the idea that it's a health first movement, and around that there actually is a modicum for success for health for people. And we have to start to really hone in on that, or else the next generation is really going to suffer. And it doesn't necessarily have to be from the big pharma. It can be from so many other mechanisms, such as an ice bath, such
Mhm.
as, so when you're doing a cold plunge, when you do a hot spa, when you do a red light therapy, or whatever the time travel device that you put in your head. There's many different things that you can do that are not necessarily what's considered norm, that can really add value. And it's really, we're starting to see a surgence into this space, and I'm really excited to see the things that come out of it.
Yeah, and I think so. Is really, use your body, your mind the correct way. To, I try now to, for many years, to eat correctly and to take the correct supplement, and this is like what I try to share. The important part, to becoming rich is is a second step, because if you are not healthy, you don't possible becoming rich, because the healthy is the base to our life. If you don't take care about yourself, you don't take care about your mind, if you don't take care about what you eat, how you possible becoming rich? Yes, people, some kind of people, they have some success too, if they have like 200 pounds or whatever, but it is not the way. I don't think so. They have inside this happiness constantly, where if you becoming healthy, you becoming automatically have the energy to achieve what you want.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And when you look at wealth and you look at health,
Mhm.
etymology around that is actually, they're really connected words. Because we think of wealth generally around the idea of money, And we think of health generally on the idea of, our physical well-being. But really all of those things from an origination were connected, because money is only a tool. And so the purpose of wealth isn't just to put mad stacks of, dollar bills or, bank inside the bank. Like, that's not the goal of it. The goal of it is to create a position of comfort for your family, for the people around you, to create a sense of abundance for the things that you can have in both time as well as in an opportunity. And all of those things definitely feed into to health, because let's face it, if the only thing that you can eat is low grade white carbs, it's going to be very difficult for you to have a very healthy life. But if you're able to create abundance through having wealth and through being rich in opportunity and rich in economically speaking, I think that's really interesting. My last question around the idea of the word rich, and I want to kind of just jump on that, is, healthy. I think we can all kind of, orient around that. The word rich, it can be such an interesting term. When you use the word rich as the title of your book, I want to jump onto that because we're right on that moment right now. Then we'll go to the last little bit. What does rich mean to you?
Big word. Rich for me means freedom. Freedom to decide what I want, when I want, what I want to do, and give to the people I love and to the people I connect without have scarcity, and have abundance in my life, constantly. And abundance is means internally and after externally, because what's happening, I believe 100% only internally abundance is not working. And why? Because when you have more abundance economic too, you possible make big shift in other human being. This is what I think, and this is what I see in my life. It means when you have a stressful to pay your every day, it's okay. It's part the every our life. I stay in this position before, but now you need really you need to bring your life on the next level, where richness means becoming healthy, wealthy, and share good energy with other human being, a word, correct word. And at the same time, when you have richness from the dollar, or for the euro, wherever you believe, you becoming more impactful in the people of,
Well, and I think that's one of the things when we talk about money mindset and we put those two words together, is to help fix the idea of money mindset, is to help fix the relationship with wealth, with being the idea of being rich, or to enrich others. And I think the idea around that concept is very simple, is money is only as good as what it does. And if you're going out and you're going to get a lot of it, well, do a lot of with it. And your choices are, you could go out and buy a Maserati. There's nothing wrong with that. You can go out and enjoy it. That's great. You can also go out and buy a Maserati and go out and build a school somewhere. You can go out and start a learning program. You can go out and start a program for people to get back, out of the military into jobs. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do as a tool set, but you can't do that when you don't have any of it. And one of the things, I was at a Keller Williams event just yesterday, was it yesterday? The last 6 weeks. It was a Bold thing, and Bold, they talk a lot about the idea of money and the relationship that people have with money. And I'm trying to find the quote here. It was a really, really good one. And basically, it goes to that idea around the perspective that money doesn't change you, money reveals you. And so if you're worried about money changing you, then you've got to fix the problem before you have it. And then, once you get the money, you're going to be able to be the same person that you are today.
And I want to add something what you tell right now. Money, sorry, amplify wherever you are before you have money. That's it. There's no other way.
Totally agree with that. Now let's hit the last one. So we hit all the different categories. So I want to make sure that we can spend a little bit of time on this moment.
Okay, the exercise, I believe in something, we are similar. We go through the same emotion, same thinking, same everything, but we are completely different human being in the way how we approach and the way how external thing like food or like exercise give energy to ourselves. And this part I think is really important. For example, I see in my life, in myself, I do some kind of exercise now where give me more energy, respect other kind of exercise. And why this part of the four pillar is so important, because when we are not in movement, when we are no oxygen in our body, we are really, completely, our mind is flat. And with this kind, I see something really important. Exercise is a pillar where need to be in each part of our life. And in particular, for example, for me, I do exercise in the morning because oxygen give me this clarity, how we spoke before, to go after what I want. Now, something I wanna really, clarify is so important to find wherever work for you. And we are completely different human beings. It means for me, for example, some kind of exercise, and I explain in the book different kind of exercise I do with interval training or other kind kind of exercise. For other people, probably is work other kind of exercise or gym or other kind of sport. I mean, it's so important. Try to do different kind of the sport and exercise and find what give you energy and strength, because it's this what we want through the exercise. It's so important because it's one really important pillar.
I firmly believe that exercise first thing in the morning is the best thing that you can possibly do. I mean, you've got Les Brown says, do things that are hard and your life will be easy. If you do things that are easy, your life is going to be hard. And most people who are heralded as really good thought leaders of our time, they definitely say, do hard things first. And if you do hard things first, the rest of your day is going to be easy. So if the exercise is difficult, and for me, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, somebody's trying to choke you, it's pretty hard. And so you want to make sure that you do that. Now, I kind of double down a little bit on it. I'll do Jiu-Jitsu in the morning. I also do it at nighttime too. So I double down a little bit, and it's probably more out of the puzzle that is Jiu-Jitsu, because it's a really strong mental game that I can do that. But I definitely do it in the morning and the night. But I would definitely recommend, if you had to pick one, I would.
Yeah, because the boost you will receive is something amazing, because how you really explain, you will receive the energy for your day, and when you start with how you explain something difficult initially in the morning, everything will be coming more easily.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, with the book, and you've obviously got it out, and a lot of people read it. What's the feedback that you're getting from people who read the book? What's the thing that's changing the most for them?
Yeah, the feedback is something really I love, because a lot of business book, they are so vague, and now in this conversation we don't possible go deeply, probably, because people, they need to read this book to understand all the process,
Hmm.
all the other part of the real estate. What this means is something I receive from people, you don't invent nothing special, because in reality, this book, I need everything is outside. I assemble this method, MPBE. I explain a different way how I create my wealth every day in real estate, in the three segmentation of my market: flipping, creation of cash flow, and buy land in correct area where it's growing. But what the feedback I receive is something where they see is a step by step process with a method. Plus, is not only the word with somebody, but this information is coming from university. What's happening in this book? I try to share my idea and the information where it's coming from. What it means, if some a doctor or some kind the super elevate mind affirm this kind of information, and after I try myself and it's working, what it means, something really is correct.
Mm.
People, they read this book. I already, have different kind the review for people. They see the clarity about the message. It means, the creation is clear. Create your inner self first of all with this method. Plus, you will have the energy to go after all the steps I share in the real estate, and their support of correct information, where I take this kind the idea and I bring in my life, and I see it's working.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With the ability to impact those lives that you've impacted with the book, what do you see as the next step? Are you going to do a follow up with the book? Are you going to do something? What is your next steps?
First of all, I want to share with you something. All the money I will receive, I donate to association. This is my goal, and will be association dedicated in elderly human being or in young people. They want and they have the anger to learn. Like how I am 18 years old, 17 years old, and after I will love to create a community where people, they, will working each other to help each other in each part of the life. I think so. We have 12 category where we need the shiny, and this 12 category is a really important. But sometimes what's happening, we really succeed in one of this category and we forgot other one. The really important, I think so, have this circle really clear in mind and working every day. We need the second part will be, really connect with high mindset and create something together where my final goal is to try to give what I receive in my life to other human beings, through the message of the book.
Yeah, that again, it goes back to the idea of having that journey for yourself and that success for your journey for you comes because you have the belief that you're doing that for the purpose of impact for others. And so that ability to be able to say that you're going to drive it and make things happen because you can benefit other people, I think that makes it a noble task. And I think that's something that really gives purpose and meaning to what you do every day.
And you know what? And I think so. Something I learned in particular in the last probably 3 or 4 years of my life, the really joy coming from me from two kind the emotion, a two kind of way how I create this kind of emotion. First of all is creation. I love create. What it means in real estate, better than me, is creation, because you see something other human being they don't see. And second of all is give. What it means, I feel super joyful when, for example, I organize every year couple of travel with all my family, everybody together, enjoy. I see their face, they are happy, and it's not like something. It's something really important for me. I feel this kind of emotion in me, and this kind of emotion stay with me to when the moment is finished. And I think so. In reality, we are in this life to add the value to other human being. What is important is something. Try to, to use your energy to create something, and try to stay and pay attention to the vampire of energy, because in the world we have a lot of vampire of energy, and one vampire of energy is possible really bring you down, and is not only for you bring your down your idea, but too for the other human being, because you have obligation to really share with more people as possible kindness, love, correct word, and help in business when they need to be help. But it's important really to pay attention to the vampire of energy too.
Absolutely. And because the thing is, the vampire's stuck on you, you're not going to be able to go out and help other people. So that's the first thing first. My wife was a paramedic for so long. And one of the things that they teach as a paramedic is you have to look after yourself first before you can look after anybody else. You're on the plane, those things, drop. They always tell you, look after yourself before you're the other passenger. Because if you're a hot mess and things are not clear in your life, you're not going to be able to bring value to other people. And so clean up your house, make your bed, look after your finance, look after your health, and then go look after other people.
Yeah, I'm 100% agree with you.
Well, my friend, I want to get a little bit onto a pivot, because one of the things that we talked about a little earlier on was we started off with real estate, because I know that's something you and I, we can definitely talk about money. We can definitely talk about mindset, and certainly we can talk about, getting into the present moment, and then also being fit. I think, it's extremely important. But one of the things that we talk a little bit about is rich in wealth. And real estate, you actually hit a lot of the pillars around real estate, because, real estate can come in a lot of different flavors. There's real estate where you're looking at creating equity through things like flipping, where you're looking at creating revenue, which is looking at cash flow. And then you're looking at land banks, where you have something where you can just store wealth and let it accumulate and grow. And you've really hit all three of those. Which one did you start in, and then what created the movement into the other moments?
Yeah, I think so. First of all, to want to share with you something. It's so important. Wherever people they outside, real estate is really, I believe, 100% in United States the best place to create a becoming multimillionaire without have and nothing. And I will decodify this kind of concept. In each business you starting, you need have some money in some way. For example, when I started my career in the jewelry space in Italy, I asked for money from the government of Italy, and after I open more than 20 shops. But if I don't receive this money, I don't possible create nothing. In real estate, in reality, is the opposite. What this means, you need to have probably one car, a little bit of gasoline inside your car, and find a way where you find the deal. And the money is outside in different way, in different modality. And I starting in Italy, and when I have 22 years old, when I started to make money from the jewelry business with one auction. I remember it like yesterday, the address is Via de Vivo, number 34. And, I make 34,000 euro. Wow. For me, like 22 years old is something unbelievable. And from over there, I started to really go deeply, continue to do auction in Italy. In 2011, when the market crashed in Florida, I every day to until now, I dedicate half an hour to find opportunity. First of all, in real estate, and after in other kind of business. And I started to research. I find in Florida the market is really go crazy. And I see the first time, I remember like yesterday, Zillow, and I see this drop of the property. Moving over here, and I started to do flipping. Flipping in my first space, my first
And were
capacity.
you flipping multi-res, or were you flipping single family?
Single family, and sometimes, multifamily too, fourplex, 8 unit, 9 unit, before 10 unit, both, wherever I find at that time. And I starting in this kind of space. I create this kind of strategy. What's happening when I make the money from the flipping, I dedicate the gain of the money to put aside, and, to invest in cash flow. Like this, and I create this second revenue of cash flow. And, and after, when, I create my bag, I started to pick select area in the area where I am right now in Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, where I find, area based on study from city. What this means, I go to city, I learn which kind of new project they will go in this area, in this specific area, and I started to look around before all the craziness happening to buy land.
Land purchasing, the more I spend time with, land development, and the more that I spend time with people just parking money in land, the more I realize it is such an overlooked spot to build wealth. Even if you take out the opportunistic element of things like I think it was in Nashville, there's a huge, I think it's Oracle or something, is setting up a massive facility, and it's really changing the landscape of how that city moves. And if you would have bought in land around that, you're going to, make out like a bandit. and certainly those situations can arise, but even just the fundamental element of just buy, hold, and wait. And, we, through the family have property, in different spots and just the land, and it's done really well. And when you compare it to where you have tenants, and you have to deal with repairs, you've got to deal with tenants not paying and all these other things, land's pretty darn simple.
You know what? And reality, I divide this three segmentation in three kind of emotion. Okay, the flipping is the excitement, is the energy, is the thing. Wow, I am good. I make K, 200K, whatever. The cash flow is something, static, where you need handling the problem, and you need the people they live in your house, in your multifamily, whatever, they feel good, and you need to stay on top with your management. And the third one is something where you completely forgot and think, okay, I think so this is the spot correctly. And after 10 years or after 5 years, you will see really the increase if you buy with this kind of correct strategy. I think so people, I see a lot of video in Instagram, in social, on YouTube related to real estate. I think so, the real estate is something really based on the capacity of wealth you have in your pocket to spread it out in different kind of way to take advantage to different kind of the way to create wealth through the real estate. It means a lot of people, they don't like to park money in lot or land because they don't cash flow and they have only property tax. But if you strategically see the most people have success in real estate, they are company buy assembled land together, and after all they sell the project everything together, or they keep it and they build when the market is ready.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think the strategy that you have is, I think, it's pretty well thought out, in the sense of you've got the, those rapid bursts of money, and I would say, you know, marginal risk with the flipping. I mean, especially if you keep the tight bandwidth on, entry to exit, and you do the math. The path is always in the math. That's good. And then when it comes to, just ebbing out those flows of in, out, up, down, in, out, up, down, is just having that cash flow, just to that continual drip, that boring money just coming in every time, just happening. And then you got land where it's, as you say, you forget about it. You're like, oh, that's right. I own that piece over there. Totally forgot about that. And I think that's a really good balanced portfolio of real estate, my friend.
And I think so something too about, people. For example, I have one my friend from Italy. He wanna learn now to becoming a flipper. Really nice guys have experience like he's a famous actor in Italy, and I try to explain the thing. But the reality, people a lot of time they try to complicate themselves. Flipping, for example, is so easy. Why? You need to buy correctly. That's it. If you don't buy correctly, if you don't know the math, how much money you need to buy, how much money you need to put inside the property, normally will be in the no correct way how you want. But if you have your strategy, keep going, keep going, keep going, and you have clarity in what you need to do, it's really, really, really different. Think about only sometimes I think about my previous business in the jewelry, because my father is continue to stay in the business with some interest, my interest in real estate. What's happening? The worst scenario, if you do your correct math, if you keep your property, if you do your correct math, you probably, if you buy with a mortgage, you rent it out and you have the mortgage pay from the tenant inside. Normally, if you don't know and you make no correct decision when you buy, you will have a lot of problems.
Yeah, and I think that goes down to having a really good understanding of your buy box. and really having a system and model for ascertaining the value, not being emotional about it, but more being very pragmatic about the situation, and ensuring that it's a right buy. Every time we've made a buy that was a good buy, it never was emotional. Every time we made it was a bad buy, we probably were not inside our buy box. We probably were feeling a little bit of bravado, and we were probably doing something with emotion. And those are the ones that go sideways. The ones where we follow the models, it's where it's a, as you say, it's very predictable when you're doing the flips.
Yeah, and I think so. Like for people, they try to learn from this podcast. I think so. Really, I believe 100% real estate is the best place to build your wealth, in particular in United States.
I think there's one last element of that we haven't covered, that it actually does tie into real estate in some degree. That is, I think, another last bastion for massive growth if you're looking at investing, and that's in businesses. And I think, we look at right now, there's a huge churn that's happening in businesses. And I think there's an opportunity for people to invest in businesses, not start businesses, because that's the hardest thing you can possibly do, but to invest in businesses. And I think that right there, you couple that with the quadrants you have to invest, you could turn the trifecta into a quadrant, and maybe consider that as your final investment tool.
No, and I completely agree with you, because what's happening in particular in United States, the shift of generation create opportunity. What I see a lot in the last 2, 3, or 4 year, because I am sensible, pragmatic investor, and I keep looking every day with a lot of energy because I love what I do. And I see a lot of things, happening in the space of business where, people they retire, people they leave the business for different way, and it's really profitable business.
Businesses could be broken up in the exact same way that you do your investments. There's gonna be businesses that you're there for a reason, and there's other ones you're there for a season. They're the ones that you're gonna flip. You're going to come in, you're going to flip. Then there's going to one you're going to bring together. You're going to buy this business, this business, this business, package them together, and they become a really interesting investment for a larger investor. Then there's going to be ones that are just going to give you that like long-term hold, and you kind of forget that you own it, but it just keeps on running. And so you're going to have those different style of investments that you're going to put in. And when I say forget about it, obviously you have managers running it. I'm not saying forget about the business, but the idea is you're going to have the different, just exactly the overlay of what you've got is following that same model. And I think the model is, the principles are actually senior than the mechanics of how you're investing. And I think it's great principles.
Let me understand correctly. What you think, like you apply the same method in real estate in the business, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Well, think about it. You can take the money and you can buy a business and flip it. You can take the money, you can buy the business and see a cash flow, and you can take the money and buy it and just hold it, because maybe it's makes money today, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's you come in as a VC, and they have a long-term value play, and so you're just parking money, and David Sachs and does a huge play on that, and investing in startups, and they just park it and just see what happens.
Nice. Yeah. And let me ask you, other kind, the view to generate money you see, like how you are attention now, because you are in different spot, where is going, in which kind of new ideas coming in the market, your attention?
I personally think it depends on what your investment strategy is. I think number one, I think I agree with you. I think real estate should be really a benchmark for success for anybody. It is the underpinning of every billionaire that I've ever met has got a high degree of investment in real estate. The second one they have is businesses. They own multiple businesses. They don't just own one, they own multiple businesses. And whether they own it for a short period of time or a long period of time, I think that is huge. And I think if they're looking to get into a business, they're going to buy a business. They're not going to start a business, because that is the hardest moment of owning anything, is that starting point. And then you can look at offshoots of that. So that'd be owning intellectual property, that'd be owning trademarks. There's a lot of play that can happen around that. And then the final one is around insurance policies. there's a whole play inside the insurance space. And, I've met a lot of wonderful people who do, really interesting things in that space, whether it's buying life insurance policies, whether it's buying, term, any of the things whole life for you or whatever it is. Not an expert in that space at all, but there definitely are people out there to give advice on it.
Nice, because I love every time to have to other brilliant mind, the idea where they think about, which kind the new way to generate money, because it's the beautiful thing. I think that we are in the best moment in our life, because a lot of new idea, new kind of concept is coming, and normally a lot of people, they will unfortunately, if they don't modify their mindset, we come back to the before, they will have a lot of problem. But for people, they pay attention, they see, they study, I think some big opportunity will coming for everybody.
You manifest what you think, and then you find what you're looking for. That's always the case, except for me looking for my keys sometimes. That's
Yeah,
a hard time.
yeah, too, for me.
Yeah. That's why I loved when I had my Tesla. My Tesla was the best because I didn't have to carry keys. I just had my phone. I would walk up to the Tesla. I would go in. I wouldn't have to put anything in. I would just start it. And when I parked it, I wouldn't even have to put it into park. It would just park itself. I open the door. It's done. And when I go to a normal vehicle, I'd always have the hardest time because I'd walk in, I'd be driving the vehicle, and I get it. I wouldn't put it into park. And all of a sudden the vehicle starts rolling away. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to put this thing in park. And so, but that goes down to systems and models. And I think, Tesla, what a great system and model.
If for this reason they sell everywhere.
That's right. You got it. You got it. Man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. I think for people to get a hold of you, the easiest way, what would you say the easiest way for them to reach you? I know you've got the healthy and happy, healthyrichandhappy.com is one of the websites to go to. I think that's the one. And then you're also on Instagram. What's your handle on Instagram again?
Yes, my handling is Jacopo Iasiello, like my name, last name, investor broker. And over there, I try to share good energy, good content, and good interview like this one with you.
Yeah, man. Well, this has definitely been a pleasure. We've covered a lot of things from the basis of really the idea of, being healthy, covering our mindset, being rich, thinking with abundance, and really being happy. And really that happiness comes from doing, number one, doing hard things. And number two, really incorporating that happiness to include other people and their journey in your success. So Jacopo, it's been a very honor, a big pleasure to have you on the show. And guys, this is the money. This is the mindset. This is the mentoring podcast. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you